Welcome to Lesson 3, Federal and State Aid. Now remember, federal and state aid options are available to you based on your EFC, the Estimated Family Contribution Number. And so depending on your EFC, some of these types of aid that we're going to talk about today will be available to you and some will not. Some of the federal aid that's available to you will be the Pell Grant and the Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, or what we call FSEOG, and that's how I'll refer to it going forward. And there are also federal self-help aid options, and those are things like loans and the federal work study. Now the good thing about federal aid is that it will be available to you if you qualify, no matter which college you go to. That isn't typically true for state aid. State aid typically only is helpful when you stay in state, although sometimes there are reciprocity agreements that you can take advantage of. All that to say is that if your EFC score is low, you may want to look at good fit colleges in your state because you'll be able to take advantage of more gift aid options to help make college more affordable for your context. Now, talking about state aid is beyond the scope of this course because every state handles it differently. And so if you want to see if you could qualify for certain state aid based off of your residency and EFC score, I'd encourage you to check out the net price calculator of some colleges that you're interested in state. Now for federal aid, I want to talk through the different types and just explain how they work so you're familiar with them. Now the Pell Grant, again, is that gift aid money that is determined based on your EFC score. And now if your EFC score is on the lower side, typically under $5,000 or $6,000 all the way down to zero, you could get some free federal money every year towards college. And this is how they determine how much you get. If you have a 0 EFC score, you'll be awarded the maximum amount of Pell Grant if you take 12 credits in a semester. 12 credits is considered full-time for an undergraduate student. And so if you have a 0 EFC score and you're taking 12 credits, you'll get the full amount. In 2019, that amount will be $6,195 for the year. And so in the semester, it'll be about $3,000. Now, if you were to take 6 credits and had a 0 EFC score, you would get half of the amount that you're eligible for, so you'd get about $1,500 in that example. Now, as your EFC score climbs, you will get less and less of that Pell money. And so if your score climbs up to, let's say, 2,000, they will prorate that maximum amount down to a certain level, and that's how much Pell you'll get. And Pell typically is dispersed in kind of quarter time segments. So if you're taking, again, the 12 credits, you get the full amount. If you take 6 credits, you get the half amount. And if you take 9 credits, you'll get 3/4 of the amount. So that's kind of how Pell works. And now for the FSEOG award, that one is given to you based off of financial need again, but not all colleges participate. And for those that do, the financial aid office will determine who gets it. There's a limited amount of funds that each school gets with the FSEOG, so even if you qualify for it, the school may not have any more funds remaining to give to you. So it always just depends. For the Pell Grant, though, it is unlimited. So if you do qualify for it, you will be eligible to receive it. Now, some of the self-help aid that we talked about as well would be federal loans, and we talked about the direct loan program, the unsubsidized and subsidized loans, so we won't review those here. But then you also have the federal work study. Now, federal work study is for those that have need, and it's a work program in which you can work on campus or you can work for a community service job off campus, but they're jobs that are available through your school, and they pay you to do that job, and you get some money for it. And so that amount is determined, again, through the school and different things, but just because you're eligible for federal work study doesn't necessarily mean that you will get a job because there are a limited amount. And so you want to make sure that if you do qualify for federal work study, and you'll know that from your financial aid award letter, that you apply at the first time that you're allowed to for those jobs. And then later in our bonus modules, I'll talk to you about some tips about how to land student employment jobs well. But that's it for this lesson, so click on the next video to learn about private aid options, which can be a huge help to affording college.